Good morning, everybody. So again, another day of Foreign Affairs Council. Today we have a packed agenda. First, we start with the discussions on the European security strategy. It's important that the member states have a buy-in because member states need to be on board what should be there. So we will have a broad discussion on what are the different aspects that member states want to see in this security strategy. Then we go and discuss Ukraine. Of course, it's important that the attention on the Middle East does not take away the attention from Ukraine, that the attention does not fizzle out there. We see the easing of sanctions on oil on Russia by U.S. is a dangerous precedent, because right now we need them to have less money for waging the war than more. And of course, the Strait of Hormuz being closed is also to the benefit of Russia to fund this war. So we need to do definitely more on this. And then, of course, we will discuss Middle East and everything. What is happening in the Middle East is also affecting Ukraine. It's affecting other partners. And there, the main topic will be how to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. During the weekend, I also had talks with UN UN Secretary General. I had talks with Antonio Guterres about whether it was possible to also have the same kind of initiative like we had the Black Sea initiative, how to get the grain from Ukraine out, because the closure of Strait of Hormuz is really dangerous for the oil supplies, energy supplies to Asia. 85% of the oil and gas through Strait of Hormuz goes to Asian countries, but it's also problematic for the fertilizers. And if there is a lack of fertilizers this year, there's going to be also food deprivation next year. So we discussed with Antonio Guterres how to make this happen. And then on our side, we have missions and operations in the region. We have Aspides. Of course, we will discuss with member states whether it's possible to really change the mandate of this mission. The point is that whether the member states are willing to actually use this mission. If we want to have security in this region, then it would be easiest to actually already use the operation that we have in the region and maybe change a bit. There is also talk of coalition of the willing in this regard, but we also need to see what could be the fastest to provide this opening for the Strait of Hormuz. But of course, as you can see, it's not easy. And then we will also have a discussion on the southern neighborhood. So there's also how these Middle East crisis affects southern neighborhoods. So we will also discuss this and many other topics. So please.
One question. German foreign minister yesterday said that he doesn't really see that it's so necessary, or that it would be very helpful to extend Aspides. What is your position on this?
We will discuss this today. So we have proposals on the table. What could we do? But of course, we need to also have the member states on board. If the member states say that we are not doing anything with this, then of course it's their decision. But we have to discuss how we help to keep the Strait of Hormuz open.
Do you have some updates on these attempts to negotiate with Russia? Because it was a visit of some European diplomats to Moscow, and there is some publications that they got very not polite answer from Moscow proposition to have Europe as a part of the negotiation? And do you feel that Europe now is a part of negotiation in some way?
Yeah, well, this is not surprising. I mean, Russia has shown that they don't really want to negotiate. They are actually increasing their attacks on Ukraine because they want to have their maximalist goals satisfied. And that's why, because Europeans are not willing to give them these maximalist demands, then of course why should they talk to us? What should be our approach is to increase the pressure, and that's why, enforcing the oil price cap is very important. Also using sanctions and the 20th sanctions package, fighting the shadow fleet, also giving 90 billion a loan to Ukraine. This is all important, that we would put the pressure on Russia so that they would go from pretending to negotiate to actually negotiate.
Representative, President Trump has said that NATO faces a very bad future if U.S. allies fail to assist in opening the Strait of Hormuz. What is your response to that, and are you concerned that the Middle East war is going to be more linked to Ukraine and NATO?
Well, clearly all these security theaters are very much interlinked when it comes to the capabilities that are needed in Ukraine or in the Middle East, when it comes to also our attention. That's very, very clear. And, the actors or our adversaries are also using this. So this is very, very clear. Now, it is in our interest to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, and that's why we are also discussing what we can do in this regard from the European side. We have been in touch with the U.S. colleagues on different levels on this, but of course the situation is very volatile.
After 2 weeks, the war between Iran, Israel, and America, how concerned are you the price in gas and petrol in Europe? Do you have enough supply of food or energy for this year?
Well, it is clearly affecting the overall oil price in the market, so it raises the prices. That's very clear, even if we are not so much dependent on these sources that come from the region. But, these are all global issues. So, of course, we are very concerned. At the same time, when we have the FAC, there's also the meeting of energy ministers, and I was in contact also with the Energy Commissioner that, what can we do in this regard to actually, keep the oil price on the global market down, because it affects everything. Yeah. Yeah, and the food as well, because via the Strait of Hormuz, I mean, the food supply is equally concerning. And like I said, the fertilizers. So if it goes, or if it is blocked and the fertilizers don't get through, then there will also be food deprivation in Africa, for example. So that's why I also discussed this with the UN Secretary General.
One question on Hungary.
Do you see? What can you say about Georgia? We know that will be discussed about Georgia.
Yes. We are discussing Georgia, and of course the situation is getting more serious, and that's why from the 6th of March we have this implementation of the visa ban for diplomats. But we will discuss what more can we do, because Georgian government is definitely not going to the right direction.
You mentioned two sides. Defense mission about Strait of Hormuz. You mentioned the EU mission, and you mentioned the coalition of the willings. Taking into consideration that having structure of command already in operation, why should you talk about European coalition of the willing? Or is it something the Americans want to take credit for?
No, I was referring to the French initiative regarding the, putting together the coalition of the willing. I think these two things could go hand in hand. We already have the Operation Aspides, where we have the chain of command and everything is in place. But I think, if there's also a coalition of the willing, these can also complement each other. But like I said, we will will discuss this today during the meeting.
Do you see dangerous?
How do you want to convince Hungary to put a 90 billion credit for Ukraine? And if it's not going to happen, what's your plan?
This is really enforcement of the decisions that have been already made. On the leaders' level, also Hungary agreed to this decision. So it is enforcement of these decisions. I know that President Costa and President von der Leyen are dealing with this. We will also have UCO at the end of this week. So hopefully we will push also Hungary to accept, or not accept, but actually stick to the agreements that they have also made.
High Representative.
We have been in contact with NATO previously, but this is out of NATO's area of action, really. So that's why we have the Operation Aspides, and there are member states who are also willing to contribute, whether it's in the coalition of the willing or in the operation itself. But it is out of NATO's territories. There are no NATO countries in the Strait of Hormuz. We first have to discuss what the member states are willing to do in the Strait of Hormuz. And there is also discussion that there could be element when the big fighting is over. But of course, the needs to open the Strait of Hormuz are there right now. So we will discuss this today. Okay.
Representative, please. Do you see these internal domestic Polish discussions about potential Polexit dangerous, especially for EU and especially for Ukraine, as Poland is the main logistical hub for Ukraine?
Yes, I haven't followed these discussions in details, but clearly Poland is a very strong European member state, and really in the eastern flank, their support to Ukraine, but also being logistical hub for Ukraine has been extremely important. So I hope it remains that way. Good, thank you.
Thank you.